Hello, everybody, and welcome to the beginning of a new building series. Today, we're going to be starting on Castle Leslie. I might still change the name back to Fort Leslie, I'm not super sure. But the first part of our build process is to get our inspiration and start working on our palette. So, I already posted on my community tab some of the inspiration images I was using. A special shout out to Rusin MC on Minecraft, on Instagram, sorry. And I want to show you the palette that we're going to be using going forward. So I tested out this kind of palette based on another reference image from Pinterest. I wasn't super happy with it. Instead, what I'd like to do is go with something a little bit brighter and more colorful. So I think what I'm going to do is focus on this kind of palette. A lot of those reds and whites, especially the mangrove with the diorite. I think it's going to be a really nice color contrast. And somebody left a suggestion on one of my videos that I should make parts of my builds look older and different parts look like they were added on as time kind of progressed. So with that in mind, some of the older parts of the build are going to have roofs that look like this sort of block palette in order to make them look more faded. And for our walls, we're going to go with a gradient from this kind of dark. So Tuff has a lot of bluish purple in it, and the mossy cobblestone has also a little bit of blue, but mostly this kind of pale green. So we're going to go from this kind of bluish green area to a little bit more of a standard gray set, and then up to here with our whites. You can see looking at the diorite and looking at the calcite, we get a lot of those same darks translated over, but the diorite is more monotone with a slight bluish hue, whereas this brings in a bit more of a egg wash yellowy hue in certain parts, like right here. So this is the palette that I'm thinking of using going forward. So it goes like this, our little gradient. Our capstones are going to be smooth stone slabs, roof blocks, floors and wooden bits. For our grass and terrain area, it's probably going to be a mix of these four. I want to go for like a really light kind of floor. Like I said, we're trying to make this look pretty bright in especially the newer areas. And I'm thinking these are some of the doors I might use. So mangrove for sure, probably spruce because it's a good solid door. One of the problems with Minecraft doors is most of them have holes in the middle, so you can't really use them for interiors. Because when you look inside your house, none of the doors have holes in them, I hope. I might try to incorporate some of the new copper doors and trapdoors, which is why I'm in a 1.21 test world. But I'm not sure because I want to show off my builds with shaders, and shaders won't be out for 1.21 until probably late June. So if I start the build now, I think I might try to avoid using copper. So let's hop over to the world and I'll show you where we're going to be setting up our build. Alright guys, so right now we are at Greenfield in our Tredegor province world, and I want to show you where we're going to be headed. If you're wondering, that's the last thing I posted, the battlegrounds over there, and Somerton is just over in that area. So I'm thinking I'm going to make a path through here, and then this is going to lead to a small either village or farm around here called Rostillid. And the castle itself is going to be on this long, stretchy kind of island, I'm hoping, over in this area. It is kind of close to a swamp, which is a bit but I think it's still a pretty nice island shape, and I think we can work with it, especially I want to terraform it a bit. You can see this world was generated in the old snapshots for 1.17 because we have a geode sticking out of the ground there when they used to generate really far up. So the first thing in deciding our build actually isn't starting the build itself, really. We already took a look at the color palette, but we know that we're going to be entering the area through this kind of region. So I think what I want to do is set up a viewing spot. I think roughly here is going to be where we can really see the castle. So let me turn down my block sounds just for a moment. Okay, so I think what's probably going to happen is we're going to get a small trail or road running up to here. And this is going to be where we can properly see our castle, like fully highlighted against the sky. So now we have to start actually planning this out. Before we do any terraforming, I want to get some of the basic ideas out. So the way I usually do this is with red wool and signs. So I think our entrance we're going to want to be here. I'm thinking probably some kind of tall bridge going across. But I think we're going to want a kind of gatehouse around here. There we go. This bit I'm not sure about. It might be an interesting place to park a boat. But we know that we're going to want probably kind of an open area here. So some kind of courtyard. We can mark this down as possibly being a little dock. And we know that we want this build to get bigger or taller as it goes. So over here, we're probably going to want a kind of tall diagonal building. Over there. Not super sure. I guess probably a dividing wall here between the kind of entry parts and then the later bits. So we can say that there's a dividing wall. And then I think back here at this point-ish, we're going to want to have a really tall old tower where the beginning of the castle started. So this is going to be where we're going to incorporate some of those darker blocks and more of those like faded roof tiles. So I think probably around here, which means that connecting to this, we're going to want a newer kind of hall area. And then probably another big tower. I'm thinking most of these towers are going to be probably square, but I might end up retconning that to be more of a circular thing. And then over here, we're going to want more of those kind of low hall buildings. Or actually, probably higher. Because we want this build to grow as it goes, so this needs to get a lot bigger. Another high building around here. And then we can start getting in. So we know that there's supposed to be a courtyard around here. So we can say that around here, we're going to want probably a blacksmith. I think kennels, because we're getting those new wolves in the game soon. So we're going to want some wolves around and probably some little vegetable gardens as well. That's kind of like a basic setup for what we want there. And somewhere in here, we should have some servant quarters, a small kitchen, and food storage. If I can write storage correctly. And then I think around back here, one of these buildings, probably this one, so we can make a note of that, is probably going to contain a larger kitchen. And I'm not sure which of these two towers is going to be taller or bigger, but whichever one is the kind of main tower is where we're going to have our bedroom for the Duke. So I've already decided that this is the seat of a duchy. Hopefully this castle doesn't end up looking too stretched out. I might pull back this kind of sandbar to start around here. And And I might buff it out the sides a little bit so it looks a bit more rectangular rather than like super skinny. But I think that's going to leave it off for this clip. And I'll get back to you once I've kind of mapped out a bit more of this build. Okay guys, update here. So I've decided to push back the beginning of the castle to around here. Because I realized that this castle is going to get really big, honestly. We've started working on this beginning area, and I've kind of decided this is going to be the newest part of the castle. So this is going to be probably, I'm not sure, it might end up being more white, or I might make it a bit more gray so that the white pops in the background. Still kind of up in the air. So we're going to have a pretty big tower here for the entrance. Another kind of side tower with some small buildings, probably a couple of gardens and stuff. This might turn into a stable, I'm not super sure. And that's our first kind of courtyard area. This is going to get sectioned off into our second courtyard area. And then that's going to slowly build up. And I've decided that all the towers here are going to be probably 2 stories tall. I don't want anything in here to be tall, really. It should all be pretty squat and short in order to get the proper illusion or the proper kind of sense of depth from the height growing in the distance. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a small update on this. I'm probably going to build out or plan out one more section of the castle, and then that's going to be it for this video because I have other stuff to get done today. Alright guys, last update here. We've mapped out the second area here. I just want to explain what the colors mean. So red is my typical outlining color. Orange is what I'll usually use for smaller, like non-official buildings, if that makes sense. So I'm thinking like this is probably going to end up being the stables. That's going to be orange. This is probably going to be like a lean-to, maybe for firewood. This is going to be a garden. This is going to be a little like blacksmith forge. And this one over here is going to be the kennels where the dogs are. So they're not like proper stone buildings. And the black I've brought in here because the amount of red I was using was making it kind of visually hard to make out. I'm mostly happy with how things are going. I might tweak the angle on this because I'm not super sure about it, but I think it's coming together pretty well, and I'm honestly excited to start building and get this out. It is slowly occurring to me that this is actually a really big castle. This might be the biggest castle I've done. I'm not sure. But it's definitely getting there, so I might try and scale back part of this into being somewhat smaller. Because I don't want this thing to take me like 5 months. Although I guess if I do, then I can show it off in 1.21. So who knows, but I'm going to try and work within a scale that is, let's say, a bit less scary or overwhelming, because this is starting to get pretty big. And anyway, I'm happy that I'm chopping this up into smaller videos instead of all at once, so you guys can really understand my process and how these things are built out. Next video I post, I'm going to finish out the outline, and then I think we're going to start some of the terraforming. I haven't fully decided what I want to use yet, but I was thinking, because I want to go for mostly light colors, I might go for this kind of really light palette of, say, moss and path blocks. They're both pretty bright. Alternatively, I might put in some of the rooted dirt in there. I think I'm going to stay away from things like tuff, though. I think tuff is going to be a bit too dark for this. And I might try a bit of packed mud, but that might be a bit too bright. But I guess I'll figure it out before next episode, and we will see. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed this different style of video.